Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 25th full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Jessica Elliott and I'm the vice chair of CB11. This meeting is called to order at 6:42 p.m. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Angel Muscane, Assistant District Manager Khalid Nixon, and Community Associate Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom can find the raise hand button by first clicking the participants icon to access the panel where that button is located. If you have any technical issue, please relay your difficulty to the staff in the chat. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about the agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. Registration for public session will close at 7:15. We will now take attendance.
Good evening, everyone. Please pay attention to your names. I will call you twice. Jose Altamirano. Jose Altamirano. Absent. Stephanie Arroyo. Stephanie Arroyo. Absent. Mar Boguski. Thank you. Marcel Bondima. Thank you. Adem Brija. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Kenneth Crouch. Absent. Carlos Diaz. Thank you. Rosa Diaz is myself. Jessica Elliott. Judith Febrado. Judith Febrado. Absent. Arnice Foster Hernandez. Thank you. David Giordano. David Giordano. Absent. John Green. Thank you. Pascal Hanu. Thank you. Wanda Hopkins. Wanda Hopkins. Absent. Christina Johnson. Thank you. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Sage Mason. Sage Mason. Absent. Malik McCulloch. Malik McCulloch. Absent. Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Thank you. Jessica Morris. Thank you. Nilsa Orama.
Present.
Thank you. Beverly Pavone. Thank you. Samantha Pedreiro.
Present.
Thank you. Claudia Perez. Claudia Perez absent. Valerie Ponte. Thank you. Asher Rodriguez. Asher Rodriguez. Absent. Eugene Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Absent. Don Sanders.
Here.
Don Sanders.
Here.
Xavier Santiago. I think Xavier's excuse. Isaac Scott. Isaac Scott. Absent. Russell Schuller. Thank you. Loretta So. Thank you. Derek Stampone. Thank you. Alida Chickambu. Alida Chickambu. Absent. Vincent Torres. Thank you. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Thank you. Jason Villanueva. Jason Villanueva. Absent. Candy Vives Vasquez. Candy Vives Vasquez. Absent. Nye Whitaker.
Present.
Thank you. Justina Williams. Justina Williams. Absent. Michelle Walter Clement. Thank you. Jason Wu. Thank you.
Thank you. We have quorum. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office. It was posted online on our website's meetings calendar. If there is no objection, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. We will now move into our pre-registered speakers. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. You must sign up to give testimony, providing your name and affiliation. You will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. You should address your testimony to the board, not the public. You should speak clearly into the microphone. You should be prepared to respond to board members' questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. Has anyone signed up to speak in the public session? No. Great. Okay. We have Kaliris Salas. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Galiri Salas Ramirez, pronouns she, her, ella. I'm a resident of East Harlem, and I used to serve on the Community Education Council, as well as was the appointee from the Manhattan Borough President for the Panel for Educational Policy, of which I am no longer. I do want to speak today about a resolution that is on your agenda. We are facing a really critical time right now in terms of culture and climate in our schools. It's a really difficult time, particularly for our children that are in temporary housing or are undocumented, as the president has signed executive orders that would allow ICE to come into schools, hospitals, as well as churches. We are fighting our best to ensure the safety of children. We do know that ICE can come to the door, and or folks on school premises may not know their rights and could potentially allow for ICE to come into their school. So the resolution was drafted with the consultation with the ACLU. So it's there's a lot of legalese in there. But it is citing all of the laws that protect our children. We also are a sanctuary city, and so we're hoping that our schools will adhere to that. The only glitch in our schools is that we are under mayoral control, which means that the mayor has every right or has the power to decide what happens in our schools. So we are asking for community boards and community education councils to approve this resolution to ensure the safety of our children. We have several councils across the city that have already drafted and passed resolutions. We also have a resolution from the Panel for Educational Policy, a little bit weaker than this one, but still with protections for children in our schools. And we just want to ensure that we uphold the values and the practices and the commitments that we have to family and children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board? All right. Thank you so much for your comment. Seeing that there are no other public speakers registered, we will move along to our elected official reports. We ask that elected officials or their representatives complete the registration form if they wish to give a report. A link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. We ask that any event or service literature be sent to our office so that we may post it and share it as appropriate. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Have any elected officials or their representatives signed up to speak? It looks like we have Shani Herrera from Councilmember Yusuf Salam's office. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Happy Black History Month. I'm Samantha Lowe, Director of Community Engagement at the Office of Councilmember Yusuf Salam. How about now? Perfect. I'm here with Shani Herrera and our district office manager. Thank you for Chair Santiago and members of the Community Board 11 for allowing us a moment to speak and offer some updates from our team. As Black History Month has moved forward, the council member has not slowed down in his legislative momentum. First, I want to briefly highlight some efforts Council Member Salam has been fighting for the New York City Council. Councilmember Salam recently introduced a bill to protect homeowners from predatory contractors by requiring them to provide written notification about necessary construction permits, associated fees, and how to verify compliance. Too often, homeowners, especially middle-class families, unknowingly find themselves facing violation for work they didn't even know required a permit. This legislation, Intro 1193, enhances transparency, protects homeowners from financial and safety risk, and strengthens labor rights by ensuring only licensed professionals take on certain projects. Additionally, Councilmember Salam has recently introduced two resolutions urging state lawmakers to take action on critical criminal justice reforms. The Earned Time Act resolution, which supports expanding earned time and merit time credits for incarcerated individuals through education, vocational training, and rehabilitation programs. This would help lower recidivism, improve prison conditions, and reduce taxpayer burdens. The Mayfield Act resolution, which calls for the elimination of mandatory minimum sentences, restoring judicial discretion in sentencing, mandatory minimums, and disproportionately harm low-income and minority communities. And this resolution urges Albany to act in the interest of fairness and rehabilitation. At this week's stated meeting, the council will be voting on two of the council members' bills this week, including Intro 1126 legislation to improve waste management, supports small property owners in New York City. This bill mandates the Department of Sanitation to distribute official New York City waste bins to owners of residential buildings with up to 9 units, ensuring compliance with sanitation regulations and reducing street litter. Additionally, the bill establishes a one-year reimbursement program for property owners who purchase official New York City waste bins before the law takes effect. By providing these bins at no cost and offering financial relief to those who already complied, the legislation promotes cleaner streets, reduces the burden on small landlords, and supports more organized waste collection process across the city. Intro 1101 legislation to strengthen protections against identity theft and improve law enforcement responses to this growing crime. This bill requires the NYPD to publicly post clear, accessible information on identity theft, including guidance on reporting suspected fraud. It also mandates officers training to ensure law enforcement to equip to effectively respond to and investigate identity theft cases. By increasing awareness and enhancing police preparedness, the legislation empowers New Yorkers to protect themselves while ensuring that identity theft victims receive the support and justice they deserve.
Thank you.
We will continue to share more about these efforts and welcome your feedback and support. As always, with any concerns, you can reach out to our Chief of Staff, Wilma Brown.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Are there any questions for Councilmember Salam's office? If you could please go to the microphone or, okay, thank you.
No charge, no charge.
John?
Your tip will be forthcoming. Thank you. Excuse me, how do we get in touch with Ms. Brown?
It's not there. You can reach her at 212-678-4505.
Or via email.
Or via email. wbrown@council.nyc.gov. You're welcome.
Very much. Thank you, Vinny, for the microphone man. Next week, I don't know. Oriana Rivera from Senator Serrano's office. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Is everybody hearing well? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, sounds good. All right. Good evening. This is Ariana Rivera. I'm community liaison from Senator Serrano. I'd like to share a little bit of the report of what happened of this month. On February 6th, Senator Serrano, along with other members of the Bronx Senate delegation, hosted a virtual budget forum to engage with Bronx constituents and organizations. This annual event provided community members with an opportunity to share their concerns and budget priorities through verbal and written testimony. The forum serves as a crucial platform for the Bronx delegation to better understand local issues and advocate for them in the final state budget. Also, Senator Serrano co-sponsored Arts Day 2025 in Albany alongside with Assemblymember Ron Kim. The event brought together arts advocates from across the state to discuss key topics, including the economic impact of the arts on regional development, diversity and cultural tourism, the role of the arts and education and continued development. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that Senator Serrano reintroduced Senate Bill S1465 to combat scheming and fraudulent process that extracts data from a card's magnetic strips to steal funds, which is currently in Senate committee. And last but not least, I want to remind you guys that the next constituent hours will be this coming Friday, the 28th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Gaylord White Senior Center. And that is located at 2029 Second Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Oriana. Are there any questions for Senator Serrano's office from the board? Jason, if you could come to the microphone in the middle of the room, thank you. And if anyone else has any questions, please be prepared to come to the microphone or we can deliver it to you.
Does Trump's executive order for federal employees to be at work apply to state and city?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Okay. We can disregard the question. Thank you, Oriana. We next have Synovia Giori from Assemblymember Jordan Wright's office.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, my name is Synovia Guillory. I'm the community liaison and the scheduler at Assemblyman Jordan Wright's office. This is our first time coming to the meeting, so I would like to say thank you for having us and let you know that the assembly member is working very hard in Albany every week. The committees that he is on are aging, banking, economic development, job creation, commerce and industry, racing and wagering, and transportation. His district office is located at 163 West 125th Street, which is the Adam Clayton Powell State Office Building, Suite 911. We're open from 9 to 6. Appointments, but appointments not needed as well, but we prefer appointments. And we have an open door policy, and our number is 212-866-5809. And we're looking forward to helping the 70th district. Thank you.
Thank you, Synovia. Are there any questions for Assemblymember Jordan Wright's office? Beverly, if you would come to the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, and thanks for being your first time with us with our new Assemblyman Jordan Wright. My question is regarding transportation. What is his stand on the executive order that might be coming for congestion pricing being halted?
We don't know that just as of yet. When he gets back this week, because they had one today. I'm sorry, a meeting today. So when he gets back on Wednesday, he'll brief us on all that the meetings that took place this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Any other questions? All right, moving on. Well, thank you very much for your commentary. We will next have Isabel Abreu from Public Advocate Williams' office.
Hi, greetings, everybody. Happy Black History Month, which is every month and every day we celebrate our history, which is Black history. And brief announcements. As you all know, at the end of January, the Public Advocate released the annual Worst Landlords Watch List, which you could view at landlordwatchlist.com. Important reminder that SYEP applications close on February 28th. So if you know any youth out there looking for summer work, the deadline is approaching. Also, a reminder to continue to keep yourself safe with all the viruses that are going around. The Public Advocate also would like to share that recently there was a inaugural Mobilize New York community organizing fair that was organized by the Office of the Public Advocate and others other city agencies. And we share resources. It was very successful, and we hope to continue to organize the people, especially in these unprecedented times. I don't really have much more, but important if you're looking for a job, there are several positions in the office, and if you would like to check them out, one is for Constituent Services Associate. Another one is for First Deputy Public Advocate, Office Assistants, and Special Assistants to the Public Advocate. Please visit advocate.nyc.gov/opportunities. As always, if you need any help or any of your neighbors, constituents need any help, remember that you could always reach us at 212-669-7250 or get help at advocate.nyc.gov. Any questions, you could email me at Isabel Abreu, yabreu@advocate.nyc.gov.
Thank you, Isabel. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none. Thank you. We'll move along to our last elected official report from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. We have Porfirio here for Mark Levine.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Porfirio Figueroa. I am the Deputy Director for Community Affairs for the Manhattan Borough President's Office. I wanted to remind everyone that our 2025 deadline to apply for your community boards is this Friday, February 28th by 5 p.m. If you need to reapply or are interested in having a voice in your local civic government, please fill out an application on the portal because we look forward to new and amazing members. All nonprofit organizations and schools that submitted applications for capital funding via the New York City CAP Grants portal and cultural organizations that receive funding and submitted applications via DCLA will find out who received grant awards sometime in late June. The Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine, and Council Member Carmen de la Rosa are working to advance a residential parking permit program for Manhattan, introducing their bill number 0674-2024. This would require DOT to create a residential parking permit system for the area of neighborhoods north of 60th Street to give residents priority for street parking. Now, for Manhattan to implement a program like this, it would need approval from Albany. Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine has heard from Manhattanites across the borough who are concerned about how federal policies are impacting our communities and has launched a Know Your Rights campaign to provide information and resources about your legal rights during encounters with immigration enforcement. The Manhattan Borough President Office Know Your Rights doc can be found on our website, which is www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov. Go to resources. We are also hosting a Know Your Rights workshop in Spanish in collaboration with Cabrini Immigrant Services and Henry Street Settlement on Monday, the 3rd of March at the Henry Street Settlement's Dale Jones Birch Neighborhood Center, 269 Henry Street in Lower Manhattan. We just held our Black History Month event at the Victoria celebrating Black philanthropy. And last, upcoming event, mark your calendars. The Manhattan State of the Borough is scheduled for Sunday, March 23rd at 2 p.m. at LaGuardia High School, 100 Amsterdam Avenue. And you can RSVP directly to events at manhattanbp.nyc.gov. Any further questions, or if you need to reach our office, it's at 212-669-8300.
Thank you so much, Porfirio. Are there any questions from the board? Jessica, if you could go to the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Porfirio. I think since I've been a member of the board, we've been asking for talking about residential parking permit. First, it was a study we wanted, then it was how, why can't we have this? And because there's some legislation that would have to happen to allow it to happen. So is there anything as a board we would be able to do to help support the effort, including feedback for what a residential parking permit would ideally support in East Harlem, if there are any concerns or anything like that while you're drafting the legislation? And if you can repeat the number of the bill, it'd be helpful.
First of all, great question. And it was frameworked in exactly the way the answer needs to happen. It is something that has to be approved by the state. So the city specifically cannot issue this. So that is why Mark Levine and Carmen La Rosa are working on this bill, which is titled and numbered 0674-2024. To answer your question specifically about how the board can support, I would urge the committee to actually go to this bill, take the elements out of it, and create a reso that would be in support of the bill.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jessica, for your question. Look forward to carrying that through in the Public Safety and Transportation Committee. And thank you, Porfirio, for your report. We have one more elected official report from Maggie McDermott at Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala's office. Apologies.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Happy Black History Month from Deputy Speaker Ayala as well. The Deputy Speaker hosted an important immigration Know Your Rights Roundtable virtual discussion for service providers to address the current immigration policies under the new administration and discuss how we can collaborate moving forward to support our community. The next 4 years will be critical and challenging for the immigrant population, and it is essential that we work collectively to protect our most vulnerable residents. The meeting featured a Know Your Rights presentation from the New York Immigration Coalition, who spoke of resources available to immigrants as well as service providers and business owners who employ and or serve immigrant individuals. These resources are designed to help navigate potential challenges with the law, including encounters with ICE, immigration officers, or other authorities. We also open the floor to participating organizations to share what they are doing to support immigrant individuals and their families and discuss how we can provide mutual support in the coming years. Our office is eager to foster a coalition of inter-service providers that will help us navigate the challenges ahead and ensure that we remain effective in supporting the immigrant community. In regard to budgetary updates, discretionary funding as it relates to all non-for-profit community-based agencies, the discretionary funding FY 2026 application deadline was February 19th at 5 p.m. Those not-for-profit community-based agencies who failed to meet that deadline will not qualify for 2026 fiscal year discretionary funding. Participatory budgeting is currently underway. It is the process where residents, including students, get to propose and vote on how to spend public funds to improve their schools and neighborhoods. Over the past few months, we have engaged with local schools in the South Bronx and East Harlem, holding outreach events and encouraging local youth to submit their ideas. Thanks to their enthusiasm, we received a number of creative proposals directly from students. Now that the idea submission phase has ended, we are entering the next stage where budget delegates who are community volunteers will redefine these ideas into concrete project proposals. They will work closely with the school construction authority to understand the feasibility of school-related projects and determine how they can be implemented. This is a key step before the final PB vote, where residents of Council District 8 will decide which projects receive the funding. Participatory budgeting voting week will take place from Saturday, March 29th through Sunday, April 6th, when community members will have the chance to vote on the final project proposals. I want to speak about our February events that passed. Deputy Speaker Ayala hosted a Sunday afternoon at the Elmendorf, which was a Black History Month gospel and blues concert featuring Vi Higginson's Sing Harlem Choir. It was a full house, which was tremendously successful. We want to thank our partners, Uptown Grand Central, the EDC, and Lloyd's Carrot Cake, who provided delicious refreshments, and all the guests who joined us. The Deputy Speaker Ayala also hosted an annual Lunar New Year celebration with co-sponsors Union Settlement at Johnson. I'm done?
Thank you, Maggie. Yes.
Uh,
Are there any questions? Thank you, Maggie. Are there any questions for Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala's office from the board? All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, everyone. All right, we will now move along to the next item on our agenda. We will hold a public hearing on the land use applications 250147 ZRM, 250148 ZMM, 250149 PPM, 250150 PQM, Carmen Villegas Senior Housing. The Department of Housing Preservation and Development, Ascendant Neighborhood Development Corporation, Xylem Projects, and Urban Builders Collaborative proposed the acquisition and subsequent disposition of property by the city, a zoning map amendment, and a zoning text amendment to facilitate the development of a 28-story, 210-unit income-restricted housing development with community facility space for seniors at 100 East 111th Street. At the conclusion of the presentation, we will hear testimony from the public on this topic. Written testimony may also be submitted by mail to the board office or via email to mn11@cb.ny.c.gov. We will now hear from the presenters. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everybody. Oh, thank you. This is a 3D model of the project we'll be presenting tonight. That's up to the architects. Thanks so much for having us back to talk about Carmen Villegas Apartments. My name is Joy Reeser. I'm the new Deputy Director of the Manhattan Planning team at HPD. I'm also joined by my director, Melissa Otten, and I'm going to be presenting with representatives of the development team who will introduce themselves during the presentation. We're really excited to be here to present the project, which is named after the late East Harlem community advocate. So we'll jump right in. Okay. Excellent. So in terms of agenda, we're going to go through, we're going to skip around a little bit, but I'll do a quick introduction of the development site. We'll talk about some of the land use actions, get into the project team, discuss the affordability mix of the affordable units, and then talk about sustainability elements of the project as well. Okay. So to begin with a little bit of technical backgrounds, the development site will be located on the underutilized parking lot of the privately owned Casita Park Housing for the Elderly at 110 East 111th Street. Casita Park is owned currently by Ascendant Neighborhood Development. We're also part of the application team tonight. The full team for the land use application comprises HPD, Ascendant Neighborhood Development, Xylem Projects, and the Urban Builders Collaborative. Oh yeah, let's try that. That would be great. Okay. Little teamwork. The team also includes Urban Builders Collaborative, which is the developer arm of Latier Construction Corporation. The project was certified on Monday, February 3rd, and that officially kicked off the public review process. The proposed project will be a 28-story new residential building with approximately 210 affordable senior housing units, including one supers unit. And it'll be developed under HPD's Senior Affordable Rental Apartments program, which is also known as SARA. So as part of the project, there will also be a community facility component that will be provided by Sage. And we have Lynn from Sage who will talk a little bit more about the programming. So I will pass it over to Lynn at this point.
Thanks, Joy.
So I'm Lynn Faria. I'm the Executive Vice President at Sage, and we are really so excited to be a part of this project. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sage and who we are, what we do, and the services that we intend to provide at Carmen Viega's apartment. So Sage, just so you know, we're the world's oldest and largest organization dedicated to improving the lives of LGBTQ plus older adults. And here in New York, we do that through a number of different programs and services. That includes a network of what we call Sage Centers, which are LGBTQ plus welcoming older adult centers across the city. We have one here in Harlem, located on the Drew Hamilton housing campus. We also are already providing services in 2 affordable elder housing developments here in the city, Stonewall House in Brooklyn and Crotona Pride House in the Bronx. Those are developments where Sage operates on-site Sage centers, as well as provides services to the tenants in the building. And that's exactly what we hope to offer at Carmen Viegas. So our Sage centers offer everything from socialization programs, health and wellness programs, daily congregate meals, and it's all complemented by our on-site care managers that can help with any deeper supports that elders may need. The Sage Center is open to the entire community, regardless of identity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and our program is really designed to be LGBTQ plus affirming, in no way LGBTQ plus exclusive. What we really hope to do is to create an environment that really can celebrate and welcome the fullness of elders' identities. And in fact, many of our centers each center attracts a very different population of folks. So as I mentioned, in addition to the on-site Sage Center, we'll also offer comprehensive support through our case management services, which would include counseling, benefits navigation, referrals to healthcare, and other necessary services. Another crucial aspect of that comprehensive support is access to different financial wellness programs. So making sure that we're equipping the residents with the tools to be able to maintain their housing for the long term and also secure their long-term financial wellness. As you can see here, we here at Sage, we've done this before. We're doing this now at Stonewall House and Crotona Pride House. And what we can say, and what I can say, is that what's been really crucial to our success in those buildings has been the strong partnerships with local community-based organizations and with the property management. It's really important to be able to work really closely with property management to address issues within the building and also partner together across the community. We'll leverage our whole person wellness model to really address all of the various aspects of an elder's life and make sure that they're active and engaged in this environment. Our key goals in providing these services is housing stability, making sure that the folks living in Carmen Viegas apartments can maintain their housing, making sure that residents can maintain a high quality of life. So really prioritizing improved well-being and really looking to integrate the Sage Center, but also the residents in the building into the larger community. So again, by welcoming local elected officials and community-based organizations into the space for joint programming. So that was just a quick overview of what we hope to do. And Matt, are you gonna? Okay.
Matt Gross, Urban Builders Collaborative in Latier, one of the co-developers of the project. Lynn is here for limited time tonight, so we wanted to have her go first and open this up to the public right now if there were any specific questions for Lynn. Obviously, there can be follow-up, but while we have Lynn, who is intimately involved in the organization, we figured we just open that up if that's okay with the board and
Thank you. Yeah, I will entertain preliminary questions regarding Sage specifically before we move on with the rest of the project. Asher, please come to the microphone. Haha.
Can I ask two questions? Is that fine? All right. My first question is, will there be like security in the front of the building? Because especially with this population, you want to make sure that like safety is a major concern.
yes, there's two separate entrances, one for the community facility center operated by Sage, and then a separate entrance for the residential tenants, which will have 24-hour security.
All right. And I have a question just about like programming and stuff like that. Do you collaborate with the LGBT Center downtown? Because I know they hold a lot of like elder events downtown. So I was wondering if there will be like busing and stuff because it is kind of hard for people to get to.
We definitely can collaborate with, you're talking about the LGBT Center on
One on
13th
13th Street.
13th Street?
Yeah.
Yes. We work really closely with the center. We definitely will not be in a position to provide busing back and forth. And what we would hope to do is actually do one better and actually bring the programming and bringing the community here to East Harlem.
And healthcare wise, where are you taking people? Like, is it like healthcare, like doctors on site, or are you like partnering with an organization like Cal and Lord? Or something like that?
Exactly. Partnering with organizations. This, the Carmen Vieques is independent living. Sage itself, we don't provide healthcare, but what we do is exactly what you said, offer referrals to different healthcare providers. Sometimes it may be an LGBTQ plus health clinic like Cal and Lord. Sometimes it may be hospitals or, like Mount Sinai or NYU, et cetera. But yes, we do have partnerships and referral pathways to most of the major hospitals in the city.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Asher. Jessica? And these are questions specific to Sage before we move on with the rest of the presentation.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. One of the questions that came up at the committee meeting, and you weren't present to answer, was about the opportunity perhaps of in providing the particular point of support that Sage is known for. It's not exclusive to the LGBTQ community. Within East Harlem, I think there is already this kind of rich layer of culture that exists and will hopefully continue to age through projects like this. And the namesake Carmen Vieques. Has there been, or could there be, consideration for that? I think the term used at the committee meeting was cultural appropriateness, relative to serving a particular community and kind of making sure that that is a part of the consideration as you're developing the programming. Is that something you have considered or would be open to considering as you continue to figure out how to do this great service provision that you will?
I think I can answer your question. If this is not the correct answer, just if you could ask in a different way. As I mentioned, we have a network of Sage centers across the city, and each of those centers offers completely different programming that's really responsive and to those communities. So what we do over at Drew Hamilton Houses is completely different than the programs that we offer in Brooklyn, for example. So all of this, we don't want to have programs that people don't want to come to or that don't reflect the culture or community that is actually coming to the center. So absolutely, and really looking to participants to inform what that looks like. Cool.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions further for? Sorry about that. All right. Thank you so much. And we can continue on with the presentation and
Thank you.
Any additional questions can be at the end. Are they specific to Sage?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I didn't see your hand, Mark.
Oh, it's okay, 'cause it's tentatively raised. So you earlier said that, you're obviously going to run activities and programs for everybody who lives in these buildings, which is great. And clearly LGBTQ plus seniors need different kinds of support potentially, which obviously Sage has experienced. But it says right here in your presentation that your programs and services are tailored to the LGBTQ plus community. So I'm a little confused because this is not an LGBTQ senior facility, correct? This is open to all seniors. So I'm a little disconnected between exactly, is this program for all of the residents, or is it really supporting a subset of the residents who could use the support, and then other people are allowed to attend? I guess that's, if that question makes any sense.
I guess the question is about the word tailored. Is that the question?
Is it?
About the word tailored in particular?
Well, right, because I mean, that's your wording, right? I mean, it's.
So the Sage Center is tailored, as the language says, to accommodate and make it a open place for everyone. Its services are tailored for everybody. So I think the language may not capture in the best way in the presentation. I think we can edit that in future presentations. I wouldn't get hung up on the word tailored. The building is open to all residents in the building, and all members of the community are welcome to utilize the services. These services are for all human beings. They are comprehensive wellness services. These are linkages to all programming within the community. Again, the Sage component comes in that everybody is going to feel open and welcome to come into this sort of community center. Not all community centers provide that in their literature and in the open. And so I think the language tailored, again, I don't want to get hung up on that. And I think we can adjust the language to be a little more succinct.
Yeah.
All right, one more.
Go
ahead.
Is that okay? Yeah, I mean, to Matt's point, I guess, a lot of this comes down to the word tailored, right? Which in general, but what I can say. No. What I do want to give you is a statistic from our Sage Center in the Bronx, which is that over 40% of the folks who attend are not members of the LGBTQ plus community. It's open to everyone. And if you've never been to a Sage Center, would love to see what we do. I would welcome anybody on a tour because folks actually like to come. We have really good programming. I mean, no shade, but we really to anyone else, but it's welcoming and it's designed to be LGBTQ plus affirming because quite frankly, as queer people, the rest of the world is tailored to non-queer people. And so I guess that's where the use of the word sort of tailored came in that it's very intentional to make, a welcoming and affirming space for LGBTQ plus folks.
Thank you. Final question from Asher.
It's
and then
more
we'll-
a comment to the board. I'll take you up on that offer, number one, for a tour. But for those of you who know, Draper Hall has Arch Care in there, and my grandmother lived in Draper Hall. She's not Catholic and she's still used to services, so I don't think we should be so picky. Just because something is safe for one group doesn't mean that you have to necessarily be a part of that group. It's more inclusion than just exclusion.
Thank you, Asher. Thank you for being here to represent Sage, and we appreciate your presentation. We'll now entertain the rest of your presentation and testimony at the end.
Okay, thank you. Now that you've gotten a taste of the first couple of floors, sorry, I'll let you do that. This is perfect. So I'll just walk you through the rest of the proposal a little bit, and then I'll hand it over to the development team. So what you're looking at right now is an aerial view of the site for a little bit more context. The current tax and zoning lot encompasses the entirety of Lot 1, which is sort of highlighted in blue on the screen, and the development site's highlighted in red, and that's sort of toward the south. So we'll be using development rights from the entire zoning lot to achieve the building's height and overall size. The proposed project will be located on the corner of Park Avenue and East 110th Street to the north of NYCHA Clinton houses. And we can go to the next slide. To facilitate the development, the applicant team is seeking the following land use actions. HPD proposes acquisition of previously city-owned property by the city on block 1638, which is part of Lot 1, and which is also the development site. The entirety of Lot 1 was previously conveyed to Ascendant through a UDAP in 2000 for the development of Casita Park. We also are seeking subsequent disposition of the land to the development site. Ascendant, Xylem Projects, and Urban Builders Collaborative propose to rezone the area highlighted in the dotted black to an R9-1 district and a zoning text amendment to map mandatory inclusionary housing or an MIH area. And now I will turn it over to the development team to introduce themselves and talk more about the project.
Thanks, Joy. Again, Matt Gross from Urban Builders Collaborative, the real estate development affiliate of Latier Construction. I've been a partner with Nick and Gerard Latier for about 15 years. Latier Construction is based in East Harlem for about 45 years on 110th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. I'm filling in for my co-development partners, Chris Cirillo, the executive director of Ascendant Neighborhood Development Corp., which has been around for close to 40 years in East Harlem, has a significant portfolio and presence of affordable buildings with services. And our other partner, Xylem, which is Nana Lynch, a Harlem-based certified MWBE who has a significant private and public experience and has been a critical team member. So we have a nonprofit, we have an MWBE, and then UBC is the for-profit builder developer. Keep going. And so I never had a chance to actually meet Carmen. Chris Cirillo, who, again, the executive director of Ascendant, actually had about 6 months of crossover when he initially joined Ascendant as the executive director. And it's just been really an honor that we could memorialize and really give a tribute to Carmen, who was just such a advocate for the community and had just such a significant presence across the board, and she would be proud of the project, including the Sage space, and having something that's welcoming for everybody and affirming, and just all of the features which we'll get into, but just to have a slide that we're grateful to be able to honor Carmen. Okay, so project overview. This is proposed 28-story building containing 210 apartments, of which 25% are one bedrooms with 75% as studios. Let me get my. So we have some amenity space of about 2,000 square feet. I just wanted to get my square footages right. That consists of a laundry room. We have an exercise room and a computer room. On the 6th floor, which we'll show in a separate slide, we have a bunch of outdoor amenity space. We also have a private courtyard that we're calling Salsa Way. That's about 2,800 square feet combined. And then as Lynn gave us some background on the Sage programming, that'll be in the community facility space, which is located on the 1st and 2nd floor. We have gone above and beyond on the sustainable design, which we'll touch on later in the presentation, including all types of flood resilient measures. We're designing to the 2080 flood map. We'll keep going. As you can see, the 6th floor that I mentioned, all types of programming space in here, and that outdoor terrace so that folks have the ability to get fresh air and outside without actually leaving the building. So we're really proud what we did with such a small footprint. And our architects are here if there are specific design questions. And they've done a phenomenal job working with us to within the constraints of zoning and the footprint to just give such a great design here. So appreciate that. Okay, unit mix. Like I said, so specifically, I said generally, it's 23%, one bedroom, 77% studios, That is 163 studios, 48 one-bedrooms. And then 30% of these apartments are set aside for formerly homeless. They're referred through the Department of Homeless Services. That is a programmatic requirement from HPD's Senior Affordable Resident Apartment Program, the SARA program. And then 70% of the apartments will be set aside for individuals earning up to 50% of the area median income. NYCHA has awarded the project Section 8 vouchers, so all 210 apartments have those vouchers. So the 70% of units up to 50% of area median income are for seniors age 62 and up. The set aside of formerly homeless, that 30% set aside, is for seniors at 55 years of age and up. And that allows a bigger pool of individuals to qualify because it's such a targeted and specialized type of population. Keep going. I touched on this before. Again, we have the award of the Section 8 project-based vouchers. We have the 30% set aside. And you can see the income bands that are referred here. These are the maximums, but there is no floor. So some individuals that get referred to these buildings potentially have no income. Some have supplemental security income, but that does not preclude them. And so these are just programmatic requirements set by HPD as well as HUD's project-based voucher program. Skip through SAGE because you heard it direct, and just the sustainability and resiliency here. So really, again, we've gone above and beyond. We are going to be utilizing geothermal for the domestic hot water and the heating and cooling, which is just going to save on operating costs in the future, and has also given us the ability to pursue Passive House certification, which we have been pre-certified by FIAS, the Passive House Institute of the United States. You can see all of the solar. We have not only solar on the rooftop, but we have the building integrated photovoltaic, the BIPVs on the facade. And we have, already received an award from NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research Development Authority, through the Building of Excellence, and we received about $1 million for that grant. We're going to be achieving the Enterprise Green Community Standard that HPD has put in place, which is per 2020. And then again, the flood resiliency, we've adjusted the height of the first floor here with the design flood elevation, again, to the 2080 flood map, and integrated a subgrade stormwater detention tank. And I think one thing we're really proud of, and we just recently formalized and established with our geothermal consultant, is that we are going to be able to bring up enough boreholes to power the domestic hot water for the Casita Park building, which is not part of this phase. This is the new construction proposal, but there is a rehabilitation in the future of the Casita Park building. And at that point in time, we will have a connection to a manifold that we can tap into and add a heat exchanger, and then be able to just upgrade the sustainability for those seniors at Casita Park. Something that we're deeply committed at Latier Construction to Hire NYC, which is the program through HPD, and also just minority and women businesses, not only MWBEs, but also local East Harlem businesses. The general contractor, that's us, Latier, we're based in East Harlem, but we go above and beyond, and we're going to look to the training programs with some of the local coalitions here. We utilize the National Center for Construction Education and Research, NCCER, which is a Department of Labor certified curriculum. So we utilize that program. We sponsor that curriculum. We sponsor the site safety training class for entry level. We look to all types of the organizations in the community, to youth build we work with. So we have a very very sort of wide network, not just in East Harlem, but throughout Manhattan, Bronx, and Brooklyn to identify entry-level students, trying to really attract folks 18 and plus, and then obviously those with experience. So something we take really seriously. We start pretty early on that process. And okay. And that's the end of the formal presentation, and
Thank you very
hand it
much.
back. Yeah.
Yep, and I appreciate, on behalf of the board, your team coming multiple times before the ULERT process even started to tell us about this project. I'm excited to see it move forward. Are there any questions? The board for this project? Okay. All right, please keep your questions and no comments, just questions succinct. And we'll do Vinny, Michelle, and then Christina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Matt. Question, timeline. Can you tell us about construction schedule? When we're looking to anticipate starting the project? How long would the project take? And potentially the amount of local hiring that may take place on this project?
Construction start will really depend on the certification. We're certified in ULERT, but the full approval process. We also have a process with HUD that we need to go through with the disposition. We need to bifurcate out the site. There's a whole bunch of steps. We're trying to get to a December 2025 construction loan closing. That potentially goes out to June 2026. And from that point, it'll be approximately 36 months. For construction. Again, we have the geothermal here. There's a bunch of pieces. And because it's a HUD Section 8 project-based voucher site, we cannot start any work early. So we do have to wait to that construction loan closing. In terms of local hire, we're going to start with a base of 25 hires, and then we're going to try to get to 50.
Thank you. Christina, you're at the mic.
Yeah, so I have two questions, right? The first one is I'm a little concerned about the height of that building. It is not conforming to the neighborhood. Looks out of place to me. Okay, so what is the height of the building?
So actually, this building's 28 stories. It is not the tallest building in the area. We actually have a model right here. Sendero Verde, I believe, is 30 plus stories. Independence Towers are 30, yeah, 35. And then Clinton Houses right here is also about 20. So it actually is pretty contextual when you take a step back and look at it. But I can understand the concern.
From what I see.
Questions only, if that's okay. Thank you. We have to move along.
My apologies. I'll do that after.
Sounds good.
My second question is, since you are using federal funding for this project, do you have a way to reach out to some of the developments in the neighborhood for Section 3 hirings?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There'll be a big outreach effort and we'll be utilizing a bunch of local organizations for that outreach effort.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw Michelle and then Jessica, Beverly, and Asher. And please go to the microphone. Okay, thank you. Jessica, sorry for the short notice.
Thank you. Two questions really, and a takeaway.
Only questions.
I'm getting to the question. So I hope the team is enjoying working together because I think it's a fabulous team. Hopefully you can continue to deliver great projects, especially here. That health is the motivator for sustainability is amazing. The question is with the Section 8 vouchers, and it's piggybacking a little bit on the last question that Christina just asked. There's often sometimes a misfit in the size of aging NYCHA residents' homes, but they don't want to give them up necessarily because it's comfortable. This would perhaps be a great reason to make a late in life shift. So in the marketing plan to perhaps collaborate with, I don't know who might know about that particular population and kind of misfit in apartment size. I know our 2 bedrooms are few and far between, and sometimes family size changes, and it may be a huge opportunity to kind of get an upgrade and a shift.
Thank you.
Even though the lottery, so if you can consider that in the marketing process, might be for Xylem. And then I know there's always, and this is a question, pardon me, I know there's always an extension of an invitation to a groundbreaking, but I think that's a huge celebration that the community board would appreciate some notice about.
Thank you.
That's great feedback on
The question, that's a question, yeah.
Yeah.
Be invited to the groundbreaking?
Definitely invited to the groundbreaking. And just to the first point on the marketing plan, right? The fair housing marketing plan is reviewed in partnership with the city, in partnership with NYCHA. So there's a lot of eyes on it. So whatever we can do to kind of weave in this concept of move from your 3-bedroom apartment to this studio or 1-bedroom, whatever can be done in terms of, and keeping within laws, I think we definitely will. Definitely a challenge that we see as well. But it is up to them. It's their decision. They can come, they can view the apartment. I think one thing that we do when in our other Sarah buildings, because we've encountered that problem, is we do site tours, right? We do unit tours. We make sure come to the building, see what this is. We don't want people to be surprised and just look at some pictures online. So it's one of the requirements actually now for us as a development company and with our property manager and our agent for them to actually come and view the apartment. So.
Thank you. Beverly?
Yes, thank you again for coming and to the board and give this presentation. My question is regarding the geothermal and utilities that the tenants have to pay. Would they be paying for water as part of their utility and cost for that? Okay.
They do not pay for water. That's on the building itself.
Thank you, Beverly.
Okay, and my last question is, I guess maybe to HPD. HPD has to buy this lot back from Ascended.
There's a disposition process that happens concurrently at the construction loan closing. I'll let Melissa from HPD.
Right, so how is that financed?
Thank you, Beverly.
Do you buy,
Yeah.
pay more than what they bought it for and?
Yeah, so the great thing about HPD financed projects, and this was a formerly city-owned lot, so we do have regulatory agreements on the Casita Park lot that we will be subdividing and acquiring a portion of, and then disposing of in that simultaneous process that Matt was saying at construction loan closing. So the great thing about that is when we do that, we actually do it for a nominal price. So the acquisition and disposition of the tax lot will happen at a nominal value, usually $1 per tax lot. So it's like, it's kind of negligible in the negotiation of the deal.
Thank you. Final question from Asher.
All right. So you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard you mention you're getting federal inclusion funding or something. I heard inclusion funding and federal, so I'm not sure if that's correct.
The project has been awarded 210 project-based Section 8 vouchers.
Okay. Will any of this, just because I'm asking because of Sage being housed in there, is any of this affected by everything going on with DEI or no?
At this point, no.
Or do you expect for that to maybe be a problem? Is there a backup plan if that does affect it?
No, not at this time. These types of funds are not the types of funds that everything going on in the federal government. It's not.
All right, I
that
just
can be
wanted to make
cut.
sure because
Yeah. So at this time, please think of the financing of this and the programming of this and anything having to do with the federal government as business as usual. This is money that at this point they cannot touch. So it's an act of Congress in order to touch funds like this. So no executive interference here.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your questions. We have no publicly registered speakers for the hearing. So the hearing for land use application for the Carmen Villegas Senior Housing project is now closed. All testimony heard today or submitted by the deadline will be entered into the record and considered by the board before any final action is taken on the subject of this hearing. Consideration of this matter will now continue at the Land Use, Landmarks, and Planning Committee meeting, which I believe is on the 12th of March. Thank you, Angel. Thank you to our presenters for your continued presence and presentations. We'll now move along to our business session. The minutes from our last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. Oh, yes, thank you so much. Very beautiful. I can see my apartment from there. The minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we'll adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. We'll now move into our chair report, which is for informational purposes only. Do we have a district manager's report?
Hello, there we go. My written report is for information purposes only. I did want to take a second as they're walking out of the room to thank HPD and the project team for the Carmen Villegas project. As Jessica mentioned before, we've seen this presentation numerous times, and I'm so happy and grateful that we have had that opportunity, not just because I think it's a good project, but also because it reflects a lot of the priorities that the community board has been advocating for many years. I think it's important for us to be the place for people in the community to be made aware and for our members to be reminded that their advocacy does bear fruit. There are a number of projects in the area that, we have new neighbors living in, and hopefully if this project goes the way, it should, in my opinion, then we'll have neighbors living there. I think I like to say that frequently, and you're probably tired of hearing me saying it, but I think I like to say it because I want to motivate you to continue to advocate and continue to listen to the community, and for the community to know that they're being heard and that what we're hearing is informing our advocacy, and that our advocacy is resulting in projects that are coming to address them and benefit their lives. So I just wanted to say that before these guys left. You guys can get out of here now. Beat it. The one other comment of gratitude I wanted to express is to Terrace Cardinal Cook Medical Center, who's hosting us this evening and has hosted us so many times over the years. It's kind of a home away from home, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to be back here. They're always so very gracious, not only in hosting us, but also in feeding us. So you guys may be on diets, but at least take the cookies so that the cleaning crew doesn't have to pick it up. Give it to your kids or something. And take the waters so that it just doesn't go to waste. And thank you for humoring me for a couple of minutes.
Thank you to Angel, our wonderful district manager. We have a vice chair report as well this month. I like to do it on a every other month basis because it's a lot, but just for informational purposes, but do want to recognize we are having a lot of turnover on the board. There are a lot of conversations going on about attendance. We are looking into the future very nearly with the term limits enforced on community boards. So it is my personal focus to help uplift everyone on this community board to be able to serve the commitment that we've made as community board members and to think about our future together. If anyone is interested in serving to a greater capacity, was interested in spearheading different projects or getting involved in leadership in any way, please let us know. We are going to be in a bad spot if we go into term limits without a pipeline of leaders to fill committee chair responsibilities, to fill officer responsibilities. So please think about, I know the deadline, as Porfirio mentioned, is at the end of this week. for community board reapplications. Please consider your role on this board and what you might be able to take on and how you want to carry out your service together in service to the community. A couple other points. I attended the NYCHA housing tours organized by Adem Briha. Thank you again for organizing that. It's great to hear directly from the tenant leaders and look forward to working with the housing committee to progress that work. We also successfully planned and executed the CB11 statement to the mayor's preliminary budget. So thank you to everyone, especially the District Needs and Budget Committee and the chairs who liaised with their committees to provide comments as needed. And we look forward to continuing that work together through the District Needs and Budget process as it aligns to our committee goals and action items moving forward. Let's see what else. I do want to mention that the Columbia Center for Smart Streetscapes workshop is continuing. I've been representing CB11 at these workshops last year. There's a 3-part workshop that started last week and will continue for the next few weeks to discuss community members and like technological solutions for urban challenges such as crossing the street if you're visually impaired and things like that. So it's pretty exciting. If you're interested, would love to chat. And then we met yesterday actually with HPD and DCP to discuss with our CB11 planning intern about their project for the community board, which is analyzing the city-owned lots, residential buildings, and privately owned vacant lots and vacancies in the district. So ideally putting forward potential opportunities for additional affordable housing in the neighborhood. So really excited to hear what our intern has to put forward. And that concludes my report. We'll now move on. Yes, go ahead. Yes, if you could use the mic.
At land use, one of the goals that I brought to the table, and I'm not sure that it fits into the bucket of the work that the intern is going to be tasked with, but I would urge some consideration for the area around a metropolitan hospital and consideration for what may be possible in those locations as well.
Great, we'll pass that along. Thank you so much, Jessica. All right, do we have any secretary report?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Once again, your secretary. So as the vice chair was stating that we, the executive board, discussed attendance during our meeting February 20th, and we will continue to discuss attendance every single month. We want to support every single member attend their committee meetings. Please let me know. There are some members that are continuing having been on the 3 absences per their committees and maybe past the threshold already. Please let me know how I can best support you. I mean, I stopped the notifications, but if you want me to continue, I will do that too. And also as a reminder, as per our bylaws, and this is like, you might find that it's repeated, but as per our bylaws, right, members may be removed for failure to comply with attendance. Again, please let us know how we can best support you. And if you have any questions, please email me at secretary@cb11m.org.
Any questions, Asher?
I remember as executive, you said you were gonna have a list of the attendance for this meeting. Will that be read this meeting or next meeting? Because some people probably don't know where they are.
Well, there are 4 people that are on red. I would prefer if each one of you just come to me outside the meeting, but I will do as you guys will tell me to do. Leave it up to you.
I think we can circulate an email to the people who are approaching the 4 limit per committee and full board.
All right.
Thank you, Asher. And just a note about attendance, when we bring forward someone for the due process of removal, it is not a guaranteed removal of a board member. You are invited to give, your reasonings for your absences at the executive meeting. And we will discuss it as not an automatic removal. So please keep that in mind, and let us know if you have any questions. We're always available to you. We do not have a treasurer's report. We are now moving forward with our committee reports and action items. We will begin with the Second Avenue Subway Task Force, which I'm realizing is on me to present as the chair is absent. So we met this month to have a presentation, sort of an update on the Second Avenue Subway progress. I think there was some tumultuousness, I guess, when the congestion pricing was potentially under stress. We were able to clarify what is funded currently, which is the contracts in the first phase, and then they will, keep tabs on the remaining phases, should there be any changes to congestion pricing given the federal happenings. I think the meeting was recorded, so if there are any questions, please reach out to Xavier. Otherwise, we can talk after the meeting. Any questions? We'll now move along to the Housing Committee. Oh, Nye Whitaker, please state your question.
Thank you. I just have a question because we've been in a situation before where the funds that were allocated for our Second Avenue subway improvements seem to have disappeared. And so I'm just curious to know if there's been a discussion as to how monies from the congestion pricing that has already been implemented may be set aside in a way that is transparent and public for us to ensure that the work that's been promised in our district will actually happen this go round.
Thank you. Great question. We did ask that question at the meeting, and I think there's still clarity on the first series of contracts and a lack of clarity on the contracts moving forward. So we will pose that question to the MTA and the team to ensure that we continue to get the most up-to-date information on funding and what to expect should there be any changes.
And I'm so sorry, Vice Chair, just one follow-up. And if it gets pulled, if the Second Avenue subway, if congestion pricing is pulled, what is the plan to make sure that we are still going to realize what's been promised to us? So,
great.
Thank you.
I think that's an open question for everyone. We'll approach that question with the MTA team, but continue to ask that question as we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nye. Moving along to the Housing Committee. Do you want to go to the microphone? I don't want to give you my microphone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we had one action item. I'll read it and then I'll explain it. It's a motion made by Jessica Morris to approve the resolution calling for state legislation to expand property tax relief programs for seniors and people with disabilities. It was passed unanimously. This might sound redundant because we did vote on this, I think, a few months back. That the last resolution, we had tailored it towards Department of Finance because that's who is responsible for the senior citizen homeowners exemption. We spoke to Department of Finance afterwards. As I said, we were going to follow up with these things. Preliminarily, they seem to be like they would probably be on board with it. I mean, that can change, but they said that this has to be passed at the state level. So we basically took the same exact resolution and we took out some of the stuff that didn't really apply to this specifically. And then we sent it to the state electeds. I know none of them are probably here or listening, but I urge their representatives to let them know that this is important. And that they pass this. I don't see why there should be any reason to not pass something like this. Other than that, we had a good meeting. Everybody's been very enthusiastic. Everything we've spoken about, the walkthroughs are still happening. So I will keep everybody updated on those. And we're still trying to get, one last thing, like, we're reaching out to some of the, management companies or whatever that have taken, that have already done some packed rad nitro transition. So we're trying to find out, what some of the challenges have been. There was a report from, I think it was the comptroller Brad Lander stating that there was some, higher eviction rates in some of these packed rad, transition properties than there were in private rentals in the city. So apparently one of those problems is there's no uniform, way that they're like doing this throughout. So we're gonna just try to speak to like Ascendant and them to try to pick their brains on that. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Jason? No questions? Jason?
Isaac, no question.
I'm ready to entertain a motion. Jason? There's a motion to support the committee's recommendation, second by Isaac. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you so much, Adem. We'll move on to licenses and permits. I was just wondering if you needed any help going through it, the licenses and permits today. Okay, great.
All right. We had a great meeting. We passed a couple of license and permits and a few, of course, did not go through. And usually they don't go through because the paperwork is not submitted in the office on time. First license is for MFC Time Harlem LLC, doing business as Mad for Chicken. New application for a wine, beer, and cider license for a restaurant located at 1914 Third Avenue, New York, 10029, which is on 106th Street. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Motion to deny was made by Adem Brija, seconded by Judith Ferrero, and passed unanimously. Again, it was because no paperwork was submitted. Katrina Mexicana, Inc., doing business as Katrina Mexicana. Class change application for full liquor license number 6029629 for a restaurant located at 163rd East, 116th Street, New York, 10029, Lexington Avenue. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Motion to approve was made by Carlos Diaz, second by Adem Brija, and passed unanimously. Vidigal, New York City, LLC, doing business as Santiago's Beer Garden. Class change application for full liquor license number 1310044 for a restaurant located at 2337-2339 First Avenue, New York, 10035 on 120th Street. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Motion to deny was made by Adem Brija, second by Judith Ferraro, and passed unanimously because no paperwork was submitted. Cascalote Latin Bistro, Inc., doing business as Cascalote Latin Bistro, renewal application for full liquor license number 1283481 for a restaurant located at 2126 Second Avenue, New York, 10029 on 109th Street. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Motion to approve was made by Adem Brija, second by Judith Ferraro, and passed unanimously. Quesadillas Matty Corp. renewal application for full liquor license 1346910 for a restaurant located at 255 East 110th Street, New York, 10029 Second Avenue. As there are no changes to previously supported methods of operation, this item is approved administratively by the district manager and the chair of the License and Permits Committee, and no vote is required. Moncall Eatery LLC, doing business as True Roast Thai, renewal application for full liquor license 1354139 a restaurant located at 1590 Lexington Avenue, New York, 10029, 101 Street. The committee recommended that this application be approved. Motion to approve was made by Adem Brija, second by Carlos Diaz, and passed unanimously. El Paso 116 Corp., doing business as, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Nociola, thank you. Restaurante, renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license number 024023142315 for a restaurant located at 237 East 116th Street, New York, 10029 on Second Avenue. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Motion to deny was made by Zembrija, second by Carlos Diaz, and passed unanimously. I'm dry. No paperwork, submitted. Okay, so Jaguar Restaurant Inc. Renew application for wine, beer, and cider license number 1023127 for a restaurant located at 1735 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York, 10029 108th Street. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Motion to approve was made by Carlos Diaz, second by Zembrija, and passed unanimously. And last but not least, the best part of the year, the 160, well, at least for me, 116th Street Festival, number 821348 Street Festival, June 6, 2025, set up at 7 p.m. Breakdown June 7th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. Location is 3rd Avenue between 106th Street and East 122nd Street. It's a full street closure application, and the applicant was David Acosta, sponsored by Abrazo Fraterno del Barrio Foundation, Inc. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Motion to approve was made by Carlos Diaz, second by Zembrija, and passed unanimously. Any questions? No? Okay.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion. Motion, Isaac? Motion to support the committee's recommendation, second by Vinnie. I saw your hand first. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. It's for the bundle. That's correct. We'll move along to Environment, Open Space and Parks.
Yes, thank you. No action items other than just so you guys can be aware and mark your calendars. We have our Earth Day celebration at El Museo del Barrio on April 22nd from 10 to 2 p.m. The theme is going to be Our Planet, Our Neighborhood, Our Power. We're also having discussions. If you guys want to support, let us know. Thank you. Yes, literally on Earth Day. Yes. The flyer, the save the date was already sent out by the board office. It's just save the date, April 22nd, beautiful flyer out there. I will send it to you personally.
Thank you so much, Rosa. We'll now move along to Human Services. Isaac?
Peace and blessings, everybody. So, first, there was an announcement. The New York City Health Department has released Addressing Unacceptable Inequalities, a Chronic Disease Strategy for New York City. This is a report, a multi-agency strategy that addresses the root causes of chronic diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, and screenable cancers. So, definitely reach out to me. I can send you the report. Please watch the meeting for the full sort of update because I mentioned the announcement, but Pauline Ferrante from the OHMH came on and sort of walked us through where to find the report and a little bit more. So definitely encourage you to go back and watch that meeting. We had our regular informational updates from the organizations represented. We also, so one of the things that right up under our noses, we have a lot of committee members who are doing wonderful work. So we wanted to make space for presentations from committee members about the work they are doing in the community, because we're sitting at the table and most of us like, yeah, we don't even really know much about each other's organizations other than that you do that. So we want to also just bring attention to the organizational work being done by committee members. So we had our first presentation from Rob Stracham, who is outreach and, does volunteer coordinator for Search and Care. So that we also had a presentation, a pop-up presentation from folks at Northwell who are just really interested in collaborating with community and organizations more. Please watch I'm doing that presentation no justice because it's not mentioned in my updates right now. But please go back to that if you are interested in specifically what Northwell is interested in, but they're just expanding services and wanting to be able to collaborate more with organizations in the community. From there, so as you all may know, we have our So every month at the end of our meetings, we discuss budget priorities, budget items, and just priorities as committee members. So we are, just sort of delegating different sort of issues to committee members and seeing what's the best way to advocate. Some ways may be direct letters to commissioners, as our nieces encouraged us to do. Also, some of it is just, calling certain people to the table. Others is in different ways. So we're just trying to figure out our strategies for each area. I think DIFTA is like our main target right now. So we're about to go at them strong. But, so that's sort of where we're at. There's more to come. I'll, for the sake of time, I'll stop there.
Thank you, Isaac. Are there any questions for Health and Human Services? All right, thank you all. We'll move along to land use, landmarks and planning. Jason? Oh, sorry, I forgot you. My bad. Asher.
All right, I'm gonna be quick because Claire's pretty much said the main topic on the agenda earlier. But we also had a presentation from Children's Aid. And Tyler Dillard, the education coordinator, came and spoke about some of the programming. I appreciate that she did a little bit of an interactive activity with us, which is cool because we haven't really had that done before. So if anyone has any questions about that, go look back at the meeting or come and ask me because I do work there, so I can answer your questions. And also we have one motion, which is regarding Claire's mentioned it earlier, ICE entering schools. I'm glad she came and explained it because I will say the title of the motion kind of sounds different than what it is. And we also, I had a few people, I mentioned this in executive, we had a few people asking us about Nightingale, the school that wants to build the sports facility. They were on the agenda for this month, but they pulled out like an hour before the meeting. So I will be contacting them again because I know a lot of people have questions about that and concerns. So just know I am working on it. However, yeah, so any questions?
Can you state your motion?
Oh shoot, my bad. I'm half asleep. Motion made by Isaac Scott to adopt the Manhattan High School President Council's resolution imploring New York State Public Schools to maintain the safety, privacy, integrity of students. Seconded by Malik McCullough, and it passed unanimously.
Michelle? Go ahead. Motion to.
For New York City public schools maintain safety, privacy, and integrity of the.
Thank you. Motion to support the committee's recommendation made by Michelle, second by Mark. All those in favor? Aye. Yeah. Well, let us finish the vote and then you can make your comment. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And then go ahead, David. You have to come to the microphone. You have to come to the microphone. Sorry. I can't run it today.
So I just want to very proudly say that the board members, including myself with the youth and education, and also the presenter, we're all Children's Aid kids, and I've worked with all of them. So I probably say it's about community passing on to the next generation.
Thank you, David. All right, now we'll move on to land use, landmarks, and planning. Jason.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
My name is Jason, your land use chair. We had a discussion this month about the Carmen Villegas project, which you heard, it's up for ULIP action. The committee pretty much heard the project and the same aspirations as you did. We submitted our questions on record to HBD. I just spoke to HBD, which they said they'll respond to us before committee. So I know some committee members had already asked about that. With that being said, like Angel implored, we think the project is an excellent project to service the district. It's something that we've been advocating for, senior housing on our district needs, probably before I was even a board member. And I think I only got one more term left, so that gives you some sense. So, next month we'll be voting to take a position on this ULIP application. So if there's any questions, concerns, most, if not all of you have my number. If not, you could contact me at the end of the meeting and we can have a discussion. But more importantly, if you're really interested, I tell you to send it to me in writing, as most board members have already done. Outside of that, we had a discussion about the statement of district needs, but I will so gracefully bow that to the chair when she has her discussion at the end of this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Any questions for land use? All right, you're free. Thank you, Jason. We'll move along to public safety and transportation. Michelle?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So we had a great discussion. We had our, the 2-3 and the 2-5 came and gave great updates. And we also had a discussion about Third Avenue going with the redesign that DOT wants to do, but we want to have the redesign with the mind of our community. The rest of the committee has been sending different things about the green wave that's south of 96th Street, but the green wave north of 96th Street is quite different, which is 18 miles per hour as opposed to 30 miles per hour south of 96th Street. That is a huge difference. And so I'm very proud of our committee bringing in this information and still keeping up to date. What happened with our vote that we had wanted to do during the time that we were discussing or just to vote, there was an interruption that changed the whole flavor of what we were going to do. And so we decided, you know what, let's table this for now with the extreme amounts of new information. And so we did. Carlos had brought up about moving a bus stop during full board previously, as well as information was brought up during the committee. So we did not want to wait an entire month to move a bus stop that was in a previous position that was better for our community, that was closer to the East Harlem Council of Human Services Borican Neighborhood Health Center. And we decided to vote on just bringing back that bus stop to where it was, also close to Taina Towers, where a lot of the community enjoyed where the bus stop was. We voted and we came to this motion by Christina Johnson to write a letter of support requesting the MTA to relocate the M103 bus stop from 3rd Avenue between 120th to 121st Street and to its previous location between 122nd and 123rd Street, seconded by Jewel Jones and passed with one president not voting, obviously.
Thank you.
Carlos Diaz.
Are there any questions? I will entertain a motion. Malik. Seconded by Rosa. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? One present not voting. Two present not voting, Anne Marie and Carlos. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. All right, man, we might get out of here before executive got out of here. Sorry. Economic development and culture is not here. We have go ahead. Go ahead, Anne Marie. Oh, yes, you did not have a meeting today, this month, because you did not have quorum. Let that be a lesson to us all. All right. Next, yeah, and I think it was, quite embarrassing to not have quorum because we all had presenters there. So it is pretty serious and embarrassing for us as a community board when we cannot host a meeting where we have invited guests to give presentations. So please show up to your meetings and communicate with your chair and vice chair if you are unable to attend within 24 hours of the meeting, more than 24 hours before the meeting. Thank you. Next, we have district needs and budget. That's my committee. We provided the statement on the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2026, which we will talk about in the next section under executive. I did want to say again, thank you to the committee. We are doing a lot of work outside of just that statement. So if you haven't done it yet, you should do it. And we will continue to move that work forward together as a committee and inform the work of our board in partnership with the leaders of each committee. Are there any questions for district needs and budget? All right, moving along, last but not least is executive, where we ratified the executive committee's recommendation to approve the statement on the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2026. That motion to ratify was made by Jason Villanueva, seconded by Asher Rodriguez, and passed with one abstention. We had a second motion as a culmination of our attendance analysis to motion by Asher Rodriguez to remove Justina Williams from membership, seconded by Isaac Scott, and passed unanimously. Justina Williams was contacted and requested a hearing and was not present at the executive committee. Therefore, we have decided to remove. Are there any questions on these two items? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Candy? Motion to accept the committee's recommendations, second by Jewel Jones. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yeah, any abstentions? That's correct for both bundled. And I just wanted to say we also talked at executive about how to better support the staff on the community board. I think it's important for us all to recognize that while we are volunteers, the staff members are employees of the board. They come to work and they want to do their best work. They want to be engaged and work with us in partnership towards the needs of the community. So we just ask that, while we're in our community board meetings, that we conduct ourselves with a level of grace that respects the staff members and the community. And, just know that, our three staff members are incredible human beings and want nothing more than to be able to come to work and do their jobs, which they do excellently. And we should be grateful for their continued care and support of us all. Motion for a standing ovation. All right. Speech. All right. We also continued to discuss attendance. So we will continue to do that. But as I mentioned earlier, please think about your role on the community board and what is in the future for us all with term limits. And I just wanted to say a deep thank you to the leaders, the executive team. I know the hard work that you all put in with your partners, your vice chairs on each of the committees. And thank you all for the work that you do, the leadership that you bring to this board. With that, is there any new business? Legislative breakfast at Metropolitan Hospital, March 6th. And that will be circulated to the board members. Thank you, Carlos. Any other new business? Any old business? Something about the end of the agenda? Oh, go ahead. Can you go to the mic? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I just want to say thank you to all the board members that attended the Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center meet and greet with our CEO, Dr. Ponte. It was a great event, and everyone was able to listen to all the great things that are happening at Borinquen, as well as future services that are coming along the pipeline. And some of you guys also had a tour of the place. So thank you again, and we'll continue to have more events and definitely continue to invite you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Hearing no additional new business, we will proceed to the second roll call.
No, I got a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Malik.
Quick one.
Yep.
We really appreciate the snacks. Hopefully we'll be back here next month.
Woo.
Come on, we really appreciate it. Just put that in the minutes, duly noted.
Thank you so much. Yes, we deeply appreciate the food. Thank you very much. Second roll call. Board members, when you hear your name, say present.
It's okay. Okay, please, board members, listen to your name. I will call you twice. Jose Altamirano. Jose Altamirano, absent. Stephanie Arroyo. Stephanie Arroyo, absent. Mark Bogursky. Marcel Bondima. Thank you. Adem Brija. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Thank you. Carlos Diaz. Thank you. Rosa Diaz is myself. Jessica Elliott. Thank you. Judith Febrado. Absent. Arnice Foster Hernandez. Thank you. David Giordano. Present. John Green. Thank you. Pascal Hanu. Thank you. Wanda Hopkins. Absent. Christina Johnson. Thank you. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Sage Mason. Sage Mason, absent. Malik McCullough. Thank you. Jennifer Mayer.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer, sorry. Jessica Morris. Thank you. Neil Sawarama. Neil Sawarama. Okay. Beverly Pavon. Thank you. Samantha Pedreiro.
Present.
Thank you. Claudia Perez. Absent. Valerie Ponti. Thank you. Asher Rodriguez. Thank you. Eugene Rodriguez. Absent. Dawn Sanders.
Here.
Dawn Sanders, thank you. Xavier Santiago is excused. Isaac Scott. Thank you. Russell Schuler. Thank you. Loretta So. Thank you. Derek Stampone. Thank you. Alaira Chicamboo. Absent. Vincent Torres.
I'm here.
Thank you. Anne Marie Vasquez. In person?
Yep,
Oh.
Elida's here.
Anne Marie Vasquez, sorry. Thank you so much. 1 second. Jason Villanueva. Thank you. Cande Vives Vasquez. Thank you. Nye Whitaker.
Present.
Thank you. Justina Williams. Justina Williams is absent. Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Michelle.
You gotta pay attention, guys. Michelle got it. Jason Wu. Thank you.
Thank you. The next full board meeting is scheduled for March 25th at 6:30 PM. If there's no objections, we'll adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:32 PM. Thanks for this evening.